And as promised, we continue to bring on draft experts. Now, Tyler Brooke and I have worked together 15 years ago, and I'm like, dude, nobody knows more about the draft in football than you, except for maybe Matt Verderam, who I used to also work with. Verderam's up there. But the founder of Best Available, he's living his dream. I see him every year at the Combine, so we figured today would be a great day to bring Tyler on alongside my beautiful friend Gregory here. All right, Tyler. You are in the weeds. What are the Bears? Give us your best prediction, your best guess, your best estimation of what the Bears do at number 25, assuming they keep the pick.
Well, real quick, you said 15 years, and I was like, that's pretty hyperbolic. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, damn, it's like been 10. So I'm getting pretty old.
Thank you.
As far as 25 for the Bears, I think there's a couple options. Like I know offensive line's definitely like on the radar, left tackle especially. But for the Bears specifically, like I don't know how comfortable I'd be taking a project like a Caden Proctor or a Maxi Honachor. My hot take, if they do take a tackle, would be to take Blake Miller if he's there. I don't think Monroe Freeling out of Georgia will be there, but Blake Miller has been one of these guys, played right tackle for Clemson for like 4 years. He's just had a ton of playing experience. Really technically sound. He may not be A or A plus in any traits, but I don't think he's lower than like a B, B minus anywhere either. That's like a really safe pick in my eyes that you could just flip over to left tackle. Have no issues with that. If they don't go offensive tackle, I definitely think, Nose is a real potential target. And there's some really exciting ones in this draft, whether it's Caden McDonald out of Ohio State, one of these really immensely powerful players who really popped a couple times on tape despite all the other playmakers on that defense. Or even a guy like, for me personally, Christian Miller, a guy that can play nose or 3-tech for you, a really disruptive, tenacious, ass kicker nose out of Georgia. Big fan of him.
Steven, you nearly had a stroke when he picked that tackle. Would you like to explain the look on your face?
I mean, Blake Miller, for me, he's a right tackle. Do you think he could move to left tackle? Because right tackle's pretty much locked in with Darnell Wright.
Yeah, I would not want him at right tackle. Let me tell you, I even as a Packers fan, which I know I'm going to get crushed for that, huge Darnell Wright fan. He is awesome. But I think he can make the switch to left tackle. It kind of fits his skill set a bit more, in my opinion. I think he's a little bit more fluid than you give him credit for. And honestly, I always think we overhype the switch from right to left tackle. It's more of just like a getting used to kind of thing. And I think that uncomfortability goes away pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's certainly a surprising name. I'm certainly going to turn some heads for fans that'll be watching here in a little bit. But I'm just curious about your bigger picture overall view of this, because when you're looking at the draft for the Bears specifically, it feels like they've called this a lighter draft. It isn't. There's a few at the top, and then that it starts to kind of dwindle. But there's some real strength up the middle, whether it's D tackle, linebacker, safety. My problem with the Bears at 25 is where I'm concerned is I see a lot of worst case scenarios kind of playing out, because the D tackles don't seem to be worthy of the 25th pick. And are the tackles and the safeties, or some of these guys, even going to be there at 25? So I'm just, what's kind of your overhead view of kind of how this can break down in a best case and a worst case scenario for the Bears?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question because, for my own personal big board, I've watched 170 guys at this point. I have 3 blue chippers, and I think I have 19 first-round grades. But I have 65, 70 day 2 guys. It is one of those draft classes where it's not going to be a lot of flashy names, but I think it is going to be a lot of guys that can contribute for a while. So I think best case scenario for the Bears, if we're talking about that tackle, and again, this is just a personal thing when I'm thinking about the Bears. I think they're ready to compete right away. I just don't want a project, but I would take Monroe Freeling if he slides. That is a guy, if he is there, I'm sprinting that card in, because I think that's a best case scenario at tackle where I'm no question there. If we're talking about D-line, I still think Peter Woods is going to go earlier than people think, just because of how dominant his 2024 tape was. But if he's there, man, I just, the kind of nice thing about where you guys as Bears fans are in right now, there are a couple needs, but if one of these players, because it's going to be such a weird draft after the first 5 to 10 picks, you kind of do have a luxury of looking at some of these players that are, the best player available regardless of position, just kind of taking a swing.
While you're on tackles a little bit and talking about Freeling and talking about, Proctor, obviously from Alabama, somebody that I've certainly had my eye on. Somebody that I don't know too much about that's starting to get a lot of momentum is Max Ahenekor from Arizona State. Ryan Poles was at, their pro day in Arizona State. There's a wide receiver there as well, but just curious what you're seeing in Ahenekor and how he's starting to move up draft charts.
Yeah, so Ihanacho's been on my radar since Senior Bowl, blown away by his tape. This is a guy that was, I think, a JUCO player, got discovered by an O-lineman coach at Fresno State. That coach jumps over to Arizona State, and the coach is like, you have to bring this kid over. Like, you have to. They bring him over, hey, maybe we'll keep working on this developmental project. Starts right away at right tackle. Go watch the Texas Tech. If you're into watching O-line play, go watch the Texas Tech game. Like, he's going against David Bailey, Romello Height, Lee Hunter, like all these guys, and he is holding his own. He's got crazy size, crazy length. He's, very big, dense, heavy. And so when you see those things, you just kind of think, all right, this guy's going to be, slow-footed, just kind of try and lean on guys. No, he's got like rapid, quick feet. He's way more technically far ahead than I'd expect for a guy that I don't think started playing football till like senior year of high school, junior year of high school. Like, he should be more raw than he is. But I still feel like he's a little bit of a project. He's more of a right tackle, in my opinion, because of the way that he moves bodies in the trenches. But man, talk about a really fun watch. And especially when you watch him go against good on good top tier pass rushers, like he really, really held his own.
Sticking with Arizona State, earlier in the show we were talking about how the Bears are maintaining they're going to go best player available. Jordan Tyson is slipping in drafts. He won't be able to show any testing until April 17th. He didn't test the combine, didn't test the pro day. If he slips to the Bears, is that something they should consider, or is that something a little too risky?
Listen, I would not rule out the Bears taking a wide receiver. I know, like, trading away DJ Moore, still think you could use another weapon. Like, I really was high on Luther Burden last year, so kind of cool to see that he's really panning out. But, you can always use more weapons in an offense, especially one run by Ben Johnson. I think Tyson's getting, this is kind of that smoke screen season, in my opinion. And there's way too much coming out that's trying to, like, knock Tyson. He's a really, really good and competitively tough player. Thought he really worked on his craft year over year, became a much, much improved route runner and release package in 2025. And then another guy you go watch, I think it was the Texas Tech game, like injures both hamstrings, goes out multiple times in the game, and then continues to go back out there and play clearly hobbled. I believe he scores the game-winning touchdown. So when I hear people trying to knock his toughness, I get a little bothered by it. That is a grit and grind player that's really improved year over year and brings a really fun skill set. I think it would mesh well with the Bears' current wide receivers.
Who do you like in the safety market, 57, 60, second round area for the Bears?
Love that question. It's such an interesting safety class because it feels like so many guys are hybrids. But if A.J. Halsey falls that far out of LSU, that might be my favorite safety prospect in this class. He's just kind of like my dream box safety that also has like some free safety ability because his trigger is so quick. Like when he reads, run or an underneath throw, he's triggering his explosiveness downhill. He's just firing out of a cannon. He is absolutely not afraid of contact. Like he's not going to stop as he hits that ball carrier. He's going to go through them. But he also has that really impressive, post snap processing, as the play's developing to recognize route combinations. He clearly watches a ton of film. He's 220 pound safety. Like this is a guy that will be an enforcer for a defensive secondary. I'm a huge fan of him. If he doesn't end up going there, I like Kamari Ramsey as a Key Wheatley. Maybe that's a little early for them. But Halsey would probably be my guy.
Yeah, he's a 4-year starter with 3 different schools. I'm curious with your evaluation process as you're kind of weeding through that in this era of transfer portal and NIL. Obviously, like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren just like passed with flying colors at the combine for his reasoning of staying loyal to Toledo. But I'm curious from your perspective how you kind of wade through deciphering players' intentions of why they kept leaving schools. Because back in the day, if you went to a different school, it's because you were a troublemaker. But nowadays, It's because you're looking out for your best interest.
Yeah, and I think you have to take it on a case-by-case basis still. But, like, if we're just going blanket statement, I'm never going to fault a kid for wanting to get more exposure to chase his dream for the NFL, right? Like, a lot of these kids are trying to go to bigger programs to increase their exposure. And, like, I'm an IU grad, man. I can't talk crap about the transfer portal. I watched a bunch of these small school kids end up leading my alma mater to a national championship. I never thought that was going to happen. I do take it on a case-by-case basis, though, because you can see a kid that's like, all right, he played 3 schools, 4 years, and you turn on the tape and you're like, he just doesn't look like he wants it. And I think that is where I start questioning the transfers a little bit more. But for a guy like Halsey, man, like that is a guy that is clearly just like trying to get an opportunity to play. And when he did, I thought he absolutely made the most of it.
Are you more Warren or Thieneman?
So McNeil-Warren or Dillon Thieneman? Well, listen, I live in Westfield, Indiana, which is where Thieneman went to high school. He played ball with a lot of the kids I coached my first year of high school that were all seniors. He kicked our ass in the sectionals. Like, that is a legit playmaker. So I don't think I can give you an unbiased answer there because I've kind of seen Thieneman come up. It's really cool to see, had good tape at Purdue and then goes to Oregon and just an immediate playmaker for them. But I will say, as far as like the lizard brain in me, like I just love watching McNeil-Warren decapitate people in the middle of the field. It's really, really fun.
It's been a fun little debate that's been going on right now. Yes,
it's a really tough one.
The Bears ran 13 personnel at a top 5 rate in the league last year. Right now, you look at their roster, it's Cole Kmetis, Colston Loveland, and then a smattering of practice squad players. Is there a blocking tight end that could fill that Durham Smythe role for the Bears in this draft?
I love that question. I love a good why. And it's funny because I know this class, at least of the tight ends I've watched, there's a lot of just like, I'm not an Eli Stowers guy. I'm not a big fan of tight ends that are basically slot receivers. The 2 names I'll give you from the guys I've watched that I really like, it's Sam Roush out of Stanford, 6'6", but dinosaur arms. But he blocks his tail off. Like he really gets in there, tight hand placement, drives his legs through contact, especially in short yardage situations. And he's a terrific athlete that can carry up the seam. So he brings a little bit of that. And then if you're going for another name, oh my gosh, Oscar Delp is probably a day 3 guy out of Georgia, sat behind Brock Bowers, played in a really funky offense with a funky quarterback. So you didn't see a lot of it in the passing game, but the want to and athleticism really stands out for me as a blocker. I think technically we still need to work on him a bit, but the flashes of blocking from tape on him, I've been very impressed by.
I don't want to throw myself under the bus, but what does dinosaur arms mean? Does that mean they're short?
Yeah,
T-Rex arms. T-Rex arms. Yeah, I apologize.
Okay.
T-Rex, yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe they could be just like bulky and just run people over with his arms. Because we're talking
That was a
blocking.
misspeak on me. Yeah, my bad.
I'm learning, Gregory.
Yeah, it's like Will Campbell from last year.
Yeah, there we go.
This is way worse than Will Campbell. It's 31 and 5/8, which is crazy for. Oh no, that's not even accurate. I'm looking at the wrong name. Sorry, I'm looking at my board. 30 and a half inch arms at 6'6". It's really bad.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so running back, Tyler, give me your whatever. Give me second round, sure, but even later than that, who do you like?
What kind of style are you guys looking for behind your current backfield? Like, do you want a pass protector? Do you want like a lightning? Do you want a thunder? What are we talking?
Well,
I mean, for me, they need a pass blocking running back. This is the role they need to replace, and probably a short yardage guy too, because Roschon Johnson hasn't really been used very much.
Well, I'll give you. He's not the biggest guy, but this is the Hoosier going to be coming out. If you want a guy that's going to throw his face into pass protection and run hard as hell, it's Kalon Black out of Indiana. He's about 210, 215. Runs like he's mad at the grass. Like it's an Isaiah Pacheco running style. Like I think early his career, that's my comp for him. But when there's like A-gap pressure coming, like he would just annihilate himself just to keep Mendoza clean. And I always really like a guy, especially, you got a really nice backfield. Just having a guy like that as a complementary piece that can still run a bit for you. I'm a big fan of his.
I forget about the guy who can block. Who's the guy that's going to be exciting to watch run the football around everyone?
Mike Washington out of Arkansas. Guy lit up the combine, ran like, a 4.3 almost flat at the combine at 223 pounds. This is a horrible comp. This is just purely stylistic, but his role would be like a Derrick Henry, where you just absolutely do not want him on passing downs or as a receiver. I don't even love his contact balance for a guy that size. He's a bit upright. He's got fumble issues. But, man, when he hits a hole on outside zone, it's over. Like, he's taking off, and it's going to be like a 60-yard touchdown.
All right, Braggs, you want to do one more? Because this is your big board day. You want to have one more for Tyler?
I'm just curious about Zion Young. You know, it's been a name that's been attached a lot to that 25th pick. Obviously made an impression at the Senior Bowl, but I just hear a lot of wide-ranging opinions about him. He's got a ton of athleticism, but, you know, some of the guys I talk to on a consistent basis question his motor. So I'm just curious what you see with Zion Young.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a true power rusher that's got athletic ability and can get extended and checks a lot of the boxes. I always tend to lean towards the bigger body edges. I just think stopping the run matters. I don't think we talk about it enough. I want 3 down edges. I don't want a roster full of 230, 240-pound guys just trying to get after the quarterback. That being said, when I do watch the tape, he seems like a little bit of a hothead, and it does show up a little bit. Like when he gets frustrated by like no flag, or he gets a cheap shot, gets a flag, it shows up after the fact on tape, like in the ensuing plays, and that's a bit of a red flag for me because like when you're always, the coach is always like the coach speak, just shake off, go to the next play. He doesn't always show that, and then you had that with I think he had a DWI. He had this one's a little exaggerated, but he did have like an assault charge from like an incident in a tunnel after a game. Like, just seems like he's a little bit of a hothead, and I'm not going to try and speculate any more than that just from what I've seen, but I am curious to see how that goes in team interviews.
Yeah. Anything else from you, Steven? Or are you good?
I think I'm good.
All right. Tyler, you are the man.
Really appreciate you coming on. It's a short notice.
Good stuff.
Despite the fact that you're an IU fan, despite the fact that you have a Mason Crosby jersey behind you.
Well, listen, I lived 6 years in Chicago, so I'm always going to still at least be loyal to the city, even if I'm not a Bears fan.
There you go. And listen, the draft, we take all comers. We'll tomorrow probably.
What was your favorite place to eat in Chicago?
No,
when
what
you
was your
lived here?
favorite moment of the year when the Bears dominated the Packers? when DJ Moore caught the touchdown in the end zone and did the snow angel, what did you do?
Kathy Barbariba, I just have sentimental value, or Will's Northwood End because the Packers place, but that was just our bar. Luther Burden choking Keyshawn was kind of funny. I did laugh at that.
All right, we'll see you at the bottom of the division, and good. Congratulations with everything you're doing in the draft, man. Founder of Best Available, Tyler. First time on CHGO Bears. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.